2, Stage 4, Lesson 54. Keep, continue, hold, maintain, conserve. Keep, continue, hold, maintain, conserve. The verb keep has 4 meanings: continue, hold, maintain, and conserve. So what are the 4 meanings of the verb keep? What are the 4 meanings of the verb keep?
The 4 meanings of the verb keep are continue, hold, maintain, and conserve.
Now, will you keep studying English until you die? Will you keep studying English until you die?
Yes, I'll keep studying English until I die.
Very good. Which side of the road must we keep to when we drive a car in England? Which side of the road must we keep to when we drive a car in England?
Okay, we must keep to the left-hand side of the road when we drive a car in England.
Do you keep animals at home? Do you keep animals at home?
Yes, I keep animals at home.
Very good. Can we keep fruit during the winter? Can we keep fruit during the winter?
Yes, we can keep fruit during the winter.
How can we keep them?
We can keep them in the refrigerator or on the counter.
Of course. Do you agree it's very bad for the health to keep eating after our stomachs are quite full? Do you agree it's very bad for the health to keep eating after our stomachs are quite full?
Yes, I agree it's very bad for the health to keep eating after your stomachs are quite full.
Where do you keep your money? In a bag or in your pocket? Where do you keep your money? In your bag or in your pocket?
I keep my money in my bag.
Very good. Now, flame, grave, neck, print, sand, one, you, we, they, mean, in general, necessarily, in particular. So, once again, please. Flame, grave, neck, print, sand, one, you, we, they, mean, in general, necessarily, in particular. Very good. So, when we use the words one, you, we, and they, we sometimes mean people in general. The word they, of course, means other people and not us. For example, we say, if one goes to the cinema, one must have some money. Or, if you go to the cinema, you must have some money. Or again, if we go to the cinema, we must have some money. As an example of they, we have the sentence, they don't sell food at a clothes shop. When I ask you if you go to the cinema, what must you have? I don't necessarily mean you in particular, but people in general. We generally use the word you more than one or we. So, what do we sometimes mean when we use the words one, you, we, or they? What do we sometimes mean when we use the words one, you, we, or they?
When we use the words one, you, we, or they, we sometimes mean people in general.
Very good. And when I ask you, if you go to the cinema, what must you have? What does the word you mean?
When you ask me if you go, the word you doesn't necessarily mean me in particular, but people in general.
Very good. Which do we generally use the most? One, you, or we?
We generally use you the most.
What does one do when one is hungry? What does one do when one is hungry?
One eats when one's hungry.
What must one do if one wants to remember something well? What must one do if one wants to remember something well?
One must repeat often if one wants to remember something well.
Where can one buy a drink when one is thirsty? Where can one buy a drink when one is thirsty?
One can buy a drink when one is thirsty from a bar.
Excellent.
Or a store.
Very good. About how much money must you have if you want to eat in the average restaurant? About how much money must you have if you want to eat in the average restaurant?
You must have about 6,000 pesos if you want to eat in the average restaurant.
What must you do if you want to speak a language well? What must you do if you want to speak a language well?
And you must study a lot. And repeat if you want to speak a language well.
Very good. Which country must we go to if you want to hear people speaking Greek? What country must we go to if we want to hear people speaking Greek?
Okay, we must go to Greece if we want to hear people speaking Greek.
Do they sell drinks at the cinema? Do they sell drinks at the cinema?
Yes, they sell drinks at most cinemas.
Very good. Now, 3 uses of present perfect. 3 uses of present perfect. Indefinite. So, we can use the present perfect in 3 kinds of sentences. First kind is where the action is finished but the time is not finished. For example, I have seen him today. The action for seeing has finished but the time today has not finished, right? The second type of the sentences is where the time is indefinite. It is generally used with the words ever and never. For example, I have never seen him. Yes. Number 3, when we don't say the time. For example, I have seen him. We don't say when. Perhaps today, perhaps yesterday, or perhaps last year. Right? So, what are the 3 different kinds of sentences in which we can use the present perfect?
Okay, the 3 different kinds of sentences in which we can use the present perfect are when the action is finished but the time has not finished.
Very good.
Okay, when the time is indefinite, and when we don't specify the time.
Excellent. Can you give me an example of each, please?
Okay, I have seen him today. I have never seen him, and I have seen him.
Very good. Excellent. Wild. Wild. Are horses wild animals? Are horses wild animals?
Some are wild and some aren't.
Boat. Boat. Did you ever have a holiday on a boat when you were a child? Did you ever have a holiday on a boat when you were a child?
Okay. No, I've never had a holiday on a boat when I was a child.
Branch. Branch. What do we call the arms of a tree? What do we call the arms of a tree?
We call the arms of a tree branches.
Bridge. Bridge. Are there any bridges over the river in Paris? Are there any bridges over the river in Paris?
Okay, yes. There are some bridges over the river in Paris.
Egg. Egg. How many eggs do you eat a week? How many eggs do you eat a week?
I eat about 6 eggs per week.
Very good.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. End of lesson 54.